Good morning. We are learning about the radioactivity and what is a radioactivity, its half-life, its mean life, etc. And today we can go into the radioactive or the decay constant, radioactive dating and the age of Earth. So how decay constant can be measured? So we have two equations here. One is the equation for the half-life of radioactive substance and other is the mean life of radioactive substance. And this for these two equations to find these two quantities we should know the value of lambda, and the value of lambda can be measured experimentally, and depending upon the value of lambda, whether lambda is too large or too small, different methods can be adopted. So using this lambda we can find the half-life of a particular radioactive substance and also its mean life. So there are two types of lambda. One is the elements of short life period. Short life period means T half is very small, that means lambda is very large. The second one is elements having long life period. A long life period means in order to get this one long, you should have lambda small. That means very small lambda. So how these two can be measured? For these two types of lambda will be there. So how we are able to measure the lambda? So we can first find the elements of short period, that is a large lambda. And plot the decay curve, that is the intensity and the time. And the logarithm of the intensity is plotted against time. Intensity means the number of atoms or the available. So you can measure the values of intensity and time. So each time you have to measure what is the value of n. Then we can taking the logarithm of the intensity and the time. We can plot a graph between the time and the logarithm of the intensity. And you have the equation for the n, the present substance, the radioactive substance which present at the current time, that is n equal to n0 into e raised to minus lambda t. These notations you may know, you should know, or you may know all these notations, what is n0, what is lambda, etc. Then we can take the log n is equal to log n0 minus lambda t. This is you can see that n is changing in accordance with the time t. N is changing. Log n0 will be a constant, since initially the number of atoms will be a constant. So as time passes, from the fraction of n0 will change to its daughter nucleus. So as time passes, the value of n will decrease. So you can plot a logarithm of log n versus t graph. So you will get, this is a constant here, then t is the one variable and n is another variable. So this looks like y equal to some mx plus c, where x is the t, y is log n. So you can plot, you will get a straight line where c is the constant, that is log n0. Then lambda will be given by the slope of the straight line. So you can see that this is a curve like y equal to mx plus c, where m is equal to minus lambda, which is the slope of the straight line. So that will be given by dy by dt. You have the small lambda, that is long life period. Small lambda means there is only a small change during each time t. So minus dn by dt equal to lambda n. This is the law of radioactive disintegration. So minus dn by dt equal to lambda n. Then lambda equal to dn by minus dn by dt into 1 by n. So lambda is equal to the ratio of the atoms disintegrating per unit time, that is dn by dt, to the total number of atoms present, that is 1 by n. Since lambda is very small, dn by dt is again very small. That means the rate is very small. The rate of change of n is very small. So we can find lambda in this way. For large lambda you can measure in this way, and for small lambda you can find lambda in this way. So what is the units of radioactivity? Radioactivity is usually represented in terms of Curie, that is represented by Ci, usually in millicurie or microcurie. So one of the unit of this radioactivity is Curie. And Curie can be defined as the quantity of radioactive substance which gives 3.70 into 10 raised to 10 disintegrations per second. So in 1 second there should have 3.70 into 10 raised to 10 disintegrations. So the number of disintegrations per second per gram of radium is also, this is actually the number of disintegrations per second per gram of radium. Radium is a radioactive element. So this is equal to this quantity is equal to the number of disintegrations per second per gram of radium. So for radium, 1 gram of radium in 1 second gives this much disintegrations. Another unit of radioactivity is the Rutherford, that is represented by RD, that is the quantity of radioactive substance which gives 10 raised to 6 disintegrations per second. In 1 second there should have 10 raised to 6 disintegrations. That is actually Rutherford. The SI unit of radioactivity, this is the main unit, that is the SI unit of radioactivity. This is actually named as becquerel. That is the SI unit of radioactivity represented by BQ. And the activity, you know what is activity? Activity is the number of radioactive decays per second. Minus sign implies as time passes, number of N, the present quantity of the radioactive substance will decrease. That is actually the minus sign represent. Then 1 decay per second is called becquerel. So 1 decay per second. So in 1 second, 1 decay per second is called the 1 becquerel. That is the unit of radioactivity. Becquerel can be defined as the 1 decay per second, which is called becquerel. So 1 becquerel is given by 1 event per second, that is, which is actually equal to, if you compare with Ci, 2.703 into 10 raised to minus 11 Ci. That is actually 1 becquerel. There is also 1 megabecquerel, that is 10 raised to 6 events. Mega means 10 raised to 6. Also giga becquerel, that is 10 raised to 9 events per second, etc. So you will have 3 main units. The SI unit is nothing but the becquerel. There are other 2 units. One is Curie and the other is Rutherford. So next one is, what is radioactive dating? What is radioactive dating? It is the method used to determine the age of a material. So age of earth, age of a particular plant or animal, etc. So for that we have to use the radioactive dating, and it is the method or technique used to determine the age of a material. And it is based on the comparison between the observed abundance of naturally occurring radioactive isotope and its decay products, usually using non-decay rates. So there will be a relative ratio between the naturally occurring or radioactive substance and its products. There should be a relative ratio between these two. So so after finding the abundance of this radioactive isotope and its decay products, we can find the age of earth or age of a stone or age of a material. Only one thing, we should know the decay rates. What is the decay rate? dN by dt. What is dN by dt? That we have to find. That is very easily we can find out experimentally. The decay of a radioactive substance is independent of physical and chemical condition. That is the main point here. That is, this radioactive substance is, decay of a radioactive substance is independent of its surroundings, that is physical and chemical conditions. So in 1913, Joly and Rutherford suggested that if a volcanic rock means the lava which is condensed form of lava actually. This volcanic rock contains small amount of uranium, and you know that uranium is a radioactive isotope or substance. It would steadily decay. If it contains uranium, it would steadily decay and depositing more stable lead. So after decaying, the final product is, the stable product is lead. So there may have a large quantity of uranium initially. So it will, as time passes, the quantity of uranium is decreased. So you will get more stable lead. So by measuring the ratio of uranium to lead, the age of the rock can be calculated. So we should know the decay rate. What is the decay rate of uranium? Then using that we can find the quantity of lead and the quantity of uranium at present. So using the relative comparison, by measuring the ratio of uranium to lead, the age of the rock can be calculated. If we are using uranium, then it is known as the uranium dating. So carbon dating is another radioactive dating which is applicable to matter which was living and assumed to be in equilibrium with the atmosphere. So once it should be, that material should be alive in the atmosphere or in the earth. So this carbon dioxide, how we are able to measure the age of such materials using the carbon dioxide or carbon dating? You know that plants take atmospheric carbon dioxide. So in the atmospheric carbon dioxide there are traces of C14. Carbon 14 is actually the unstable radioactive substance. It will decay suddenly. And when plants die, no additional C14 is taken. So there should not be any additional intake of the C14 when plants die. And whatever the quantity of C14 in the plant body, in the plant, so it will start decay. So after decay, we should know that during decay there is no intake of C14. So gradually the quantity of C14 in the plant will be decreasing. So measurement of the relative amount of C14 and C12 in an organic sample gives the age of the sample. In what the activity of certain mass of the carbon from a plant or animal that was recently alive is R0. So for the same C14 we can find the activity of the plant or animal present at present, and the activity of the same mass of carbon from the sample to be dated is R. So which material we have to measure, or we have to find the age of which material? So the abundance or the activity of the carbon in that particular material also we have to find. Then the activity of the material which is currently alive, the plant or animal, whatever it is. So the activity of C14, the same amount, only thing we have to take the same amount of the radioactive substance. Then which is recently alive, we can measure the activity, and also from the deadly plant we can measure the activity of the C14. So we will get two reactivity, that is R0 for the present lively plant and R is for the dead plant. So we have the activity equation. R0 is equal to lambda n0. Actually R0 is equal to lambda into n0 into e raised to minus lambda t. But here t is equal to 0. T0, this is actually T0. For in the case of the alive substance, T0 is 0. So we are measuring currently. Currently what is the substance or radioactive amount of radioactive substance in the plant, that is we are measuring, that is at time t equal to 0, what is the activity, that is represented by R0. So we have only lambda n0. What is R? R is the activity of the sample that is to be measured. So age of the sample to be measured, the activity of the age of the activity of the material for which we have to measure the age, that is given by R. So R is equal to minus dn by dt, that is lambda n, where n is equal to n0 into e raised to minus lambda t. So by dividing these two equations, R0 by R will give e raised to lambda t. This e raised to minus lambda t is the denominator, so which is equal to e raised to lambda t. Taking the logarithm, you have to take log e here, log e or 2.303 log 10. So here I am taking the log e here. So log R0 by R, which is equal to lambda t, or t is equal to 1 by lambda into log R0 by R. So the decay constant can be measured in differently. You can measure the decay constant, and R0 and R also we can find what is the activity of the substance. In using this equation we can find the T or the age of the particular material or plant here. Using the same method, we can find the age of the earth. So the age of the earth can be calculated from the relative abundance of uranium-238 and uranium-235 in the natural uranium. So in natural uranium, there may have a large quantity of U-238 and a very small quantity of uranium-235. So the relative abundance of U-238 and U-235 is 99.3% and 0.7%. Only 0.7% of uranium-235 is there in the naturally occurring uranium. So what is N1 by N2? This is N1 is the number of uranium and N2 is the number of uranium-230. N1 is the number of U-238 and N2 is that for uranium-235. So N1 by N2 is equal to 99.3 by 0.7. So what is N1? N0 into e raised to minus lambda 1 into t. N0 is N10 into e raised to minus lambda 1 t. N2 is equal to N20 into e raised to minus lambda 2 t. So N0 will get cancelled. So initially what is the we have to take the same amount of the material. So N0 and N01 and N02 will be the same. So the remaining is e raised to what is lambda 2 minus lambda 1 into t. So taking the logarithm, this is again a natural logarithm, log to the base e. So log 99.3 by 0.7 is equal to lambda 2 minus lambda 1 into t. Then t can be measured as 1 by lambda 2 minus lambda 1 into log 99.3 by 0.7. And lambda 1 and lambda 2 can be calculated from the formula. We have the equation for half-life, that is lambda 1 is equal to 0.6931 by t half. And for lambda 1 here is for uranium-238. So the half-life of uranium-238 is 4.9 into 10 raised to 9 years. And also here lambda 2 is for uranium-235, that is the half-life is 7 into 10 raised to 8 years. So the t, you will get t as 5.93 into 10 raised to 9 years, or this is actually approximately equal to 6 billion years. That is, this is actually more or less in comparison with the current age of the earth now. So this method is also can be used to find the age of earth. That is we are taking the relative abundance of U-238 and U-235, and knowing the value of the decay constant for this two material U-235 and U-238, you can measure the age of earth. So the age of earth is given by the equation. This is t equal to this equation, 1 by lambda 2 minus lambda 1 into log, this is natural logarithm, log 99.3 by 0.7. So you will get the age of earth as t is equal to 5.93 into 10 raised to 9 years, or approximately equal to 6 billion years. So these are all for now. Next we can take what is fission, fusion, some nuclear reactors, etc. that we will take in the next class. And now we can stop. Thank you.